Welcome to the Excuse Smashers podcast.
Hey, this is Tim Kaufman. Thank you so much for joining me as I talk to some of the most amazing people on the planet about excuses and why they didn't let excuses hold them back from a plant-based lifestyle. So sit down, buckle up, and hang on as my guests show you how to
Smash excuses.
Okay, so tonight we have the awesome opportunity to talk to Phil Green, and I followed Phil for a while on social media, and I feel like we've been trying to connect for quite a long time. So this is a really special occasion. So Phil, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to be here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a little while. It seems like all these things keep coming up, and we keep kind of putting it off. But I'm glad we're doing it tonight, and it's gonna be a great time. So the first thing I want to start with is, how does your life look different from what it did before you went plant-based? Like, what's changed?
What has changed? Well, one thing is my weight. That's the biggest thing. Losing over 100 pounds. That's a big thing. But some of the best things is I don't have to take medication. I had cholesterol medication I was supposed to take, and I never did. And that was before all this. And I seem happier. Everything seems to be good. I don't have to sleep with a sleep apnea mask. I used to have to wear a BiPAP at night, and I hated it. It was like a torture device. It seems like I care a lot more. I know that's not part of it, but it seems like I care a lot more. I have more emotion towards people and animals and everything. I feel like I'm trying to fit everything in at once.
It's good. So physically, you lost a bunch of weight.
Right.
Your cholesterol obviously came down, or they'd still be prescribing medicine.
Right.
How about like blood pressure stuff?
Well, my blood pressure used to sit about 160 over 100. Now it's high 90s. Low 100s over 50s and 60s, so
yeah, that's awesome. And then you're not alone when you talk about the emotional stuff, and it almost seems like sometimes I don't even like to talk about it because it sounds so weird. That how could something you eat make you treat people differently? It's really weird.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was me, but it's not a coincidence because almost everyone I talk to says the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat phenomenon how you just kind of like, I feel like I love my family deeper and all that kind of stuff. I rescued my dog here. She was in the Walmart parking lot shivering and all that stuff. I took her home. My wife's like, "What are you doing? Why are you bringing the dog home?" I'm like, I couldn't leave her. But
yeah, that's awesome.
But
yeah, that's super, super cool. And you're not alone when you talk about that stuff. So basically physically, emotionally, for me, spiritually, like a whole bunch of things clicked for me. So great job. Congratulations on the hard work. And I'm super happy for you. So this is Excuse Smashers, and we are here to smash an excuse. And I get this excuse, and I think part of it is because I grew up kind of in a similar situation than you did, which we're going to find out about in a minute. I grew up on a farm, and it was a pretty rough-ish lifestyle. Quite a bit more rough than I lead a life now, but things have changed for me. So the excuse that I get, and I still get it because I hang out with a lot of my former hunting buddies and stuff, but I get this excuse all the time that I know plant-based is healthy. I know it's the way to go. I just can't do it because it's not conducive to the environment that I'm in every day. And so the first thing I want to ask you is, why do you think I would ask you to smash this excuse?
One thing is probably because I'm a heavy military equipment mechanic, and I ride motorcycles. I hang around with some people that are kind of rough around the edges and stuff like that. I go on a lot of trips on my motorcycle, and I'm at different events and rallies where, it's really not plant-based friendly most of the time. And the people I work with also, I work in Texas on heavy equipment, and so there's always those people that are, they are grill masters. That's what I call them, pit masters, grill masters. They pride themselves on how tender they can get the meat and all the flavors and all that stuff. And so,
Yeah, I was talking to a guy last night from Texas, and I wrote it down because he actually said that meat and barbecue is a hobby, and then he said, and so are stents. And I'm like, whoa.
yeah.
Yeah.
Almost everybody over 45, if you talk to, well, maybe 50, if you talk to them around here, almost everybody's got a stent.
Yeah, I've never heard of a stent as a hobby, but there it is. That's Texas, right?
Yeah.
But so anyways, what I like to talk about is how has this excuse challenged you? And I can't even imagine some of the challenges, but if you could give some like actual everyday examples. And obviously the challenges are a little bit different now than they were when you first transitioned. So take us even through that too.
Well, at first, I kind of kept it hid. I was eating beans and cornbread and stuff like that when I'd go to work, and they would, nobody really mentioned too much about it. But once I lost about 20 pounds, everybody started noticing, be like, hey, what are you doing? And then I had to kind of fess up, and they're like, of course, the deal like, oh, I could never give up meat and all that stuff. And, they, around here, eating meat is kind of like a, manhood, they just, and so they're like, it almost seemed like they were like making fun of me and being more feminine. But these were my friends, and they were just giving me a hard time, and I'd give it back to them and that kind of stuff. And then when I went on motorcycle rides, the challenges were just having food to eat. And, everywhere I went, there was either barbecue or, I don't know, nachos, burgers, everything. And so I would always have to carry something like bananas and a lot of peanuts. Probably not the best thing, but it's better than the burgers and the barbecue. Trying to think of all the challenges I had. I'd have to say you would think that everybody would be a little bit more hard on me. I got joked about, and you've probably seen on Facebook, I'll post something and somebody will say some smart off the wall thing, but I always think that if I put it out there, maybe somebody will be like, hey, man, maybe that's the way I need to go. But and another challenge is when I first started, and even to this day, my family hasn't been on board. So I've done it, alone for 5 years. My wife has gone more plant-based, but she's not totally. She hasn't eaten meat, but she still eats some dairy. So, and my kids, we don't have none of it at the house. But when we go out to eat, they still will have something that, But so when I would go home in the evening, I would have to make my own meal, and my wife would make the meal from her and our kids. And that was kind of hard because, at work, nobody really understood. And then I come home, and my wife always supported me, but she didn't really understand either. And I've shown her the videos and all that stuff. And I think she's coming around slowly, but she's coming around finally. So the challenges were work, the things I do as a hobby, ride my motorcycles, mechanicking, and all that stuff. Everybody just thinks that it's crazy that I don't eat meat or dairy. And then also at home. So
basically, if you're challenged at home, at work, and your hobbies, pretty much the only free time without a challenge is when you're sleeping.
Right.
Really. But at least it's without sleep apnea now.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, and that's honestly like what you just described is exactly why I wanted to talk to you, because I I feel like you're right. There's almost a stereotype of what I hate using the word vegan, but we can,
Right.
of what a vegan looks like. And when I do my presentations, I talk a lot about this because it's not what people think. And it's guys like you and me and Josh Lajani,
Right.
we're
Right.
busting that stereotype down. And I love that because, if anyone needs us more than anyone, it's guys that we hang out with, right?
Yeah, a lot of the blue collar guys, man, they just they're killing themselves. A lot of them, and a lot of my friends. I try to talk to them about it, but I don't push it down anybody's throat. I usually lots of times I mention it, and what's funny is every once in a while you get that guy say, "Phil, come here." The man, I got high blood pressure. He says, "Can you recommend me some movies or books or something like that?" So I think on the down low, people really want to be healthy and not have stents and heart attacks and
Yeah, and I think the best thing we can do, honestly, is just live and just I was talking to my wife about this the other day. The best thing I can do to get people to want to know more is live my life in such a way that they wonder what they're missing out on. And
right.
I think that's a really good thing. So, okay, so actually, this is to me the most important question I'm going to ask you. The last question. We want to know what some of the tools that you use to get over these challenges, and you still have to be using them now. So if you could just give us some specific tools that you use.
Well, number one is always be prepared with food. If it's not there, you're tempted more. If when I go on these rallies, if I don't take bananas or peanuts or at least stop at gas stations, they have peanuts usually, and a lot of them now have bananas, which is great. Bananas and apples and oranges. So at truck stops, and so that's great. And they even have fruit cups. So always know where you're going, and if you don't know you're going to have any food, take some with you. Trying to think of one of my biggest tools was is thinking about what your goal is. And like when I first started this, people would be like, "Oh, I couldn't give up burgers or I couldn't give up pizza." I'm like, "Look, they gave me they told me that I was going to have a heart attack and possibly die." I said, "I would rather have I would rather have not have a hamburger than not get to be at my son's weddings." You got to keep it in mind why you're trying to get healthy. It's not about just being vegan, because vegans eat junk. A lot of them do. It's a lot of it is about being healthy. So you got to keep your mind straight on why you want to be healthy. Because when you have those goals, like I want to see my children graduate from high school, see them graduate from college, see them get married. I want to have grandkids, and I didn't have my first kid till I was 31. So, I have to be around a while before any of that even comes around. And those would be my two main things: be prepared and keep the goals in mind.
So this is more maybe like a mental tool, but I'm curious, what do you do when you're sitting around at work? And I'm sure it's better now because people are just used to, Phil just weird. But when that happened, like we're human, we want to fit in. Like everybody wants to be fit in. So like mentally, like what went through your head when people were kind of ribbing on you, no pun intended, for not eating meat?
Oh man, I would just give it back to them. I would, I'd be like, "Well, hey man," I said, "if you want a heart attack, you have it. You go ahead and have that. I'm gonna have this." I just, when they gave me a hard time, I just let it roll off my shoulder. Most of them know that I like to joke around. So when they joke with me, they'll be like, "Hey, you want some of this burger?" I'm like, "No, man, you can have it, man. It's all for you." Like I said, it wasn't as hard as it seems, because it was more like these guys knew. Maybe I'm just different anyway, so they just were like, "Oh, let's just still doing something different." But I, you know, I'm. They really. I can't really say things on here that I've said because it wasn't, when they were giving me a problem, it wasn't very nice what I said. But it was usually funny, but
Right.
some of the man, I'm sorry, I can't really think of much.
Well, yeah, no, that's okay because this is a G-rated show, anyways. But the thing is, I think you hit something really, really important though. Is not sweat it. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's not, because I feel like there's people that would bug so much, that peer pressure thing, that they would cave. So I think you bring up 3 really good tools, and one of them is to be prepared, and that seems to be like a theme. I don't think I've ever had talked to anyone that being prepared is key. And I always tell people the 2 things that are going to make you screw up is being hungry and unprepared. And that's huge. And I don't know, like I don't know what that looks like. Maybe potatoes in your saddlebags, like that's just really cool.
Yeah,
but you're
I've
right
done that
about
before.
yeah. And yeah, McDougal would love that, huh?
Yeah. And they stay warm on a hot day.
but you're totally right about the gas stations, because they're never used to be, but there's always something that I can grab at a gas station, and the other thing is the goals. And I think goals are huge, because when you go into, you like the motorcycles, you like that atmosphere, and there's no point that you have to give that up just because you go plant-based.
Right.
So when you go into, what was the name of the event you just were at, the barbecue?
Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Yeah.
Yeah, bikes, blues, and barbecue. You know what you're getting into, so you have to be prepared. But the other thing too is when you're walking around and you get all those smells and stuff like that, having that goal in your mind is huge, because you're right, because nothing tastes or smells as good as knowing that you're going to be around for, like you say, your kid's wedding, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have written down here is basically, the peer pressure, don't sweat it. And it's okay to give it back too. And I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, give it back. And I was going to say something a minute ago and I forgot what it was now. Yeah, I can't remember. I'll think of it probably when you start talking again.
Yeah, or probably in 20 minutes from now. But yeah, so those are all really, really good things. And it's really cool, because I don't think I've ever had anybody on Excuse Smashers with this excuse before. So, and it was everything that I wanted to be. So, because I really feel like there's a bunch of us out there that people don't know about, and they need to, because honestly, Phil, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know what a vegan was. I didn't know what plant-based was. I just started juicing because Joe Cross did, and I wanted what he wanted. Had I known what I was getting into, I don't know what would have happened. But I'm glad I didn't know, because I would have that same stereotype as this skinny little, unmanly person, like you say. This is what we do. Carhartt. It's funny now, because in my closet I have Carhartts, I have Carhartt bibs, and then right next to them I have spandex, and bike kits. And like, if you would have asked me that like 8 years ago, that would have like blew my mind. Like I would have been all over somebody like that.
Right. That's like me running. All my friends are like, "Man, you run?" I was like, "Yeah."
Cops chasing you.
Yeah. I was like, and what's funny is I joke with everybody. I was like, I really don't like running. I just do it because I haven't thought of anything else I like better. Like, so now I did just buy me a bicycle. It's not a fancy speed bicycle. It's just an old school type, but I like it. So I put a bell on it, and I'm just.
They're fun though.
Oh yeah.
They're fun.
Just a cruiser.
But listen, I don't want to take any more of your night up tonight, but I really appreciate you being here, and I'm so glad we got to connect. So I can't thank you enough, and I know a lot of people are going to get a ton of info out of this. So Phil, thank you so much for doing this tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
When you're saying don't sweat it, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve, just have a good time, enjoy it. People don't want to be preached to. So especially my friends, and I think the best way that I can get to them is to like you said, just be an example and have fun with it. I enjoy my food. I enjoy what I do, and I think my friends see that. But I don't give them a hard time about what they eat. I don't give them a hard time about what they wear, and we get along great. And I think that's what it takes. Everybody be kind to each other, and don't judge each other, and because people will come around, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what was on my mind.
Dude, that is great advice, and that's a great way to finish this up. Like, that's perfect. So thanks again, Phil. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me again. I'm glad we finally got together on this.
So that's Phil Green. He's like so awesome, and I feel like I connect with him so much because we both have kind of similar backgrounds, and we're not your typical vegans, which I really like that. And I saw him a while ago posting stuff, and how I noticed it is, he had these potatoes and beans and all this stuff out, and every time he took a picture of his food, it was right by his Snap-on toolbox. And it was in, basically a repair shop where he's repairing like heavy, equipment for the military. And it kind of, that's what sparked my interest in seeing. And he's such a cool guy, he's such a nice guy, but he's also one of the guys. And I love people like him just smashing stereotypes and excuses at the same time. So it doesn't seem like it's that crazy hard for him, but looking from the outside, it might seem intimidating. So when someone tells you that they can't go plant-based because it's not conducive to their environment, or all their manly friends are going to pick on them, or it just won't fit into what they do for entertainment, work, and in his case, family, you just tell them, send them right to Phil, and you tell them that this excuse is super
Smash.